Good morning. This is Brother Henry Harris. Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. We're having tea with my friend here,
Yes.
Ryan. Such a blessing to meet him for the first time. And we're going to be talking about grace through cancer. And Ryan, what a blessing it is to have you
Thank you, Henry. I really appreciate you
on the
being
show
here.
today. And Ryan, I want to start out with this question first. Let's go back to day number one. Tell us how did all this get started?
Sure. Yeah, well, just first off, I want to say that I'm so grateful. About 6 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
someone told me about a book called Destined to Reign
Mm-hmm.
by Joseph Prince, and I've been on this journey of starting to have some type of a revelation, understanding of grace.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want everyone to know that I think that has been beyond words,
Uh-huh.
a blessing to have that as my foundational belief system
Mm-hmm.
when I was, facing what I've been going through. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I had some swollen lymph nodes in my neck, that had kind of popped out
Mm-hmm.
last April and May in 2015,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't have any other symptoms, and I was 35 with no medical history, so I didn't think anything of it, honestly. And I never really pursued those or checked them out or went to the doctor or anything. And then in the fall,
Mm-hmm.
I changed careers from being a real estate agent to a loan officer, and I was down in Oklahoma City the week of Labor Day
Mm-hmm.
doing some training at my company's home office. And it was a Wednesday morning, 2 days after Labor Day, and I was awakened at 5 a.m. with the worst headache I've ever experienced in my life. Like, I don't really get headaches, and this one was just, I mean, it was unbelievable. The pressure and the pain and well, I assumed at that time that potentially it was, maybe I needed glasses, or I was stressed from studying, or I thought, well, I should go to the chiropractor and get adjusted. So, I mean, I did all those things, but they just persisted. And about a week later, because I'm in Oklahoma City away from my family, staying at a hotel, I'm in training, I'm trying to go to my company's place of work on a daily basis and learn, but yet I'm dealing with these headaches. So, and at that time I wasn't tying them to the swollen lymph nodes. I wasn't making that connection.
Mm-hmm.
So a doctor friend of mine, who's an eye doctor there in Oklahoma City, I began talking to him on the phone, and he'd been asking me if I had anything else going on or other symptoms, and I finally mentioned to him about the swollen lymph nodes, and he said, why don't you come by my office in the morning? This is about a week later after the headaches had started. So it was the following Thursday, and so I went by his office, and he hadn't been with me 2 minutes, and at that time I had a big swollen lymph node right here on my left clavicle. And he said, Ryan, he said, I don't want to scare you, but that's called a virchow. And he said, a virchow typically means that you have cancer. And he said, you've got to go get MRIs, man, and figure out what's going on. I think this may have something to do with your headaches. So I went and packed all my stuff up, explained to my boss that something was going on, came home the next night, Friday night, went and got an MRI done of my groin, stomach, chest, neck, and brain. And the following day on a Saturday, my doctor, my primary care physician, called me and said, hey, listen, I'm just going to be real honest with you. You're going to need a biopsy done to confirm this, but man, there's lymph nodes lighting up everywhere, and there's a huge mass lighting up in your stomach, and I'm afraid you've got lymphoma. And so, if you've ever had a chance to see a video I made about a week later, it was titled Cancer Equals Change. It's not a death sentence. And I can truly, honestly say, because of understanding grace and because I know God loves me, I've never thought I was being punished, or I never thought God did this to me. Thankfully, I didn't think, oh man, I must have been sinning, and then, I brought this on myself. I just was able to say, planet Earth is planet Earth, and it hits everybody on some level. And sometimes things like cancer hit us, and they can be partly due to maybe some choices or decisions we did make, But it's just we live in a fallen world and things just don't work perfectly, you know? And so my reaction just simply was, I'm not afraid to die. And it never even dawned on me that I would. I just literally believed from day one. And I honestly don't know that I had any idea of what I truly was about to face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you looking back now, Henry, I thought, boy, I was just going to whip this thing in the butt like it was nothing, you know? It hadn't quite went like that, you know? It's been a little bit more challenging than that. But, yeah, man, I have so much to live for. I truly am. This is not oh, we have a perfect marriage, or oh, we never have any challenges, but I really am in love with my wife, Caroline. I like her. She likes me. I mean, I want to be married to her. We want to do things together. So that's a motivator. I have 3 beautiful kids, you know, 10, 6, and 4. I've been coaching my oldest for years now, and I haven't been able to do that these last 6 months. And I really miss it. And I want to live. I want to be here. I love life, even in spite of the challenges of planet Earth, and even in spite of things I dislike. You know, I hate the fact that we do things at times that actually hurt us as human beings because we want to make money, or you know, or it's sad that sometimes we allow ourselves to make poor decisions. But that's just, there's more to it than this realm, you know what I mean? And anyway, so I think going back to day one, I just am so grateful I was not overcome with fear. And I give so much credit to the understanding that God totally unconditionally loves me. I'm totally in right standing with Him. There's nothing separating us, and He's with me no matter what planet Earth throws my way. And God is not planet Earth. You know, it's important to understand what's coming at me and understanding it's not God. And that allows me to trust the integrity of who I believe He is and who He says I am.
That's great, Ryan. What would you have done differently prior to being diagnosed?
You know, I think always hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
Right? And I have said for a long time that I don't look back in my life and have regrets, because I think if we have regrets, then we miss the opportunity to be grateful for where we're at in the present moment. And how could I not be grateful? You know, I'm alive. I've got a beautiful wife. I'm married. I'm in love with her. I got these 3 kids. They're healthy. And even though, yes, I'm still battling in the physical realm, you know, hey, 9 months later, I'm here. I was diagnosed with stage 4, you know, lymphoma, Non-Hodgkin's, that had spread into my bone marrow and metastasized. For those that don't know that, look, the stats and the picture of people making it is not very good. I mean, 94% of people diagnosed with stage 4 don't live 5 years. I mean, the odds are stacked against you. You know what I'm saying? And but I don't care about any of that. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. If one person's been able to do it, another person can. So I think what I've learned in this whole journey, of course, I learned a lot about food. I don't ever want to be legalistic about that. I don't think it's about trying to think that somehow we're going to be perfect. But I definitely realized I had no consciousness and no understanding that what humans have done to food over the years has become harmful to us. And so I went from eating without ever thinking to I can't hardly eat now without thinking, because I'm conscious of what's going in, what's been done to it. There's so many things that have been modified, you know, sprayed down with chemicals, or just had something done to it that no longer allows the body to be able to handle it properly. And when the body can't handle stuff properly, it's just bound to malfunction, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So I want to tell people that I think, you know, start down a journey of learning. I mean, if you're fortunate enough to start making some changes in the area of food before it becomes a disease, or you get to a point of having stage 4 cancer like me, you know, it's okay. It may take several years for someone to evolve to a place of more cleaner eating. You know what I mean? And don't get so caught up in all the arguments that are out there, because they exist, on this perfect exact diet. My advice for myself and to everyone is pay attention to your body. You know, when you eat stuff, how does it make you feel? Does it provide you with energy, or does it make you sluggish? You know what I mean? Does it create, inflammation, and do you feel bloated and those types of things? Or do you feel healthy and good? And so it's a journey. It's a trial and error. And it takes time to educate. We had to just kind of jump in and get pretty serious about it, because I'm totally convinced nutrition plays a gigantic role in reversing disease, because I have chosen to go an alternative, natural route. I believe God made the body to heal. And if you help it, it will heal itself. You know, if you go and you have a gash in your arm, Henry, okay, and let's say you have to go and get stitches and stuff, right? I mean, once those stitches are in, I mean, does anybody ever doubt that it's not going to heal? Does anyone ever question? I mean, if you break your arm, you just know in 4 or 5 or 6 weeks it's going to be better, it's going to be healed, and the cast is going to come off, right? I mean, like, and you don't even have to really even do anything other than just stay out of its way. Well, why wouldn't it be any different with disease and sickness? Why can't we believe that if I put the right things in and I help the wrong things get out, why couldn't the body heal it just like it heals a wound or a broken bone? And so I think what I would do different is I'd just be a little more conscious in that. The other thing is I would be a little more intentional about exercise. And I don't necessarily mean like you gotta go kill yourself. I'm talking about just being a little more active. You know, maybe it's jumping on a rebound or a little mini trampoline more. Maybe it'd just be more intentional about walking every day. Or because one thing I've learned about the lymphatic system is it requires movement in order for it to continue to function and flow properly. There's no pump. Yet if your lymphatic system stops working correctly, it's like backing up your sewer at your house. Not a good thing, okay? So, and then of course there's all other factors. I mean, we're exposed to radiation, and of course we've learned a few little tricks that help maybe kind of slow down that radiation, turning some electronics off, or you know, how you use your cell phone, those types of things. And I think the other thing is that I would have learned to just appreciate life a little more, a little differently, and maybe I could have lowered my stress level at times. I think it's easy to get caught up in an identity that's tied to either what you do, or how much money you have in your bank account, or how pretty your spouse is, or you know, whether or not you think you're a good parent. And again, I'm so grateful that in these last 6 years I began to unwind from all of that and really just find this place of rest in my being. So I wouldn't change a ton, but obviously wisdom allows you to look back and go, yes, moving forward, I think I'll do things a little bit different. And it doesn't mean you're bulletproof. It doesn't mean they're guarantees. My faith is not all of a sudden in a formula. I don't want people to think that. It's more of, if it serves me well and it makes my life better, why not do it?
Yeah, why not do it?
You know?
That's amazing, Ryan. I'm sure this cancer has affected your family, and not only your family, but those that are around you. Talk a little bit about that right quick.
Yeah, it has a way of overtaking your whole life if you allow it. I mean, it invades your finances, it invades your physical body, of course, it invades your mind, it invades your emotions. I have needed 24/7 care many a times in the last 9 months. I mean, it's literally just forced my wife into becoming a nurse, like overnight, and then just the amount of research. I mean, you know, you at times just, you're literally in the physical realm. It's like you're fighting for your life. So it's like, for an example, okay, it impacts my kids because I am thankful that I'm conscious about being an intentional dad, about making sure I invest time in them. I tried to always make sure I took, you know, each one on like individual dates, and then Of course, I'm spending a lot of time with my son when I was coaching him. Well, I just hadn't been able to do that as much. Okay, and then we had a couple of months where we were overseas or in another country getting alternative treatments, and we were away from the kids. And so, like, one of our children started having a few struggles at school. Well, we got home, and within a week, they were back to normal. They literally just, it's like their love tank had been lowered because mommy and daddy just hadn't been able to invest the normal amount of time. And I mean, there was nothing we could do about it. You know what I mean? It's just part of how it works. My wife and I haven't been able to earn an income or work in 8 months.
Wow.
I mean, nothing coming in. We have solely done what we've done off the incredible generosity and donations of other people. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And the other thing that it's done is it makes an impact on all your family. And at times, it actually can be what, I don't even like to use it this way, but there's been a couple of incidences where certain family members, we kind of had conflict because they thought maybe I should be doing things a different way or a certain way. And I know at the end of the day, it wasn't their heart to hurt me, or it wasn't their heart to create that conflict, but cancer has a way of kind of revealing everything going on inside of all of us. So if we have some unresolved issues, boom, they're going to pop out in a pressure situation like this. You know what I mean? Cancer, in my opinion, kind of reveals who we already are. And that can be really wonderful if we've been able to really experience God's grace and understand our identity, or it can really be a time to say, wow, God, I need your help, because this is revealing stuff. This isn't going to be healthy as I heal moving forward. So I don't even know if I could really put it into words, honestly, Henry. I mean, I could probably share story after story after story of just, well, I want to say this. I mean, and I know you, listen, I mean, my wife and I haven't been able to have sex for 8 months. Just put that in perspective. And I know that might be, whoa, he said, think about it. You're a happy married couple, you're moving right along, and then all of a sudden something happens and you can't be intimate. I mean, that's real life stuff. My wife said to me the other day, and tears were rolling down her eyes, and she said, I just took for granted the ability to just touch you and to just, you know what I mean? And you think, how many things do we take for granted? Who thought at 36 I wouldn't be able to just be intimate with my wife? You know what I mean? Or I don't know how many times my kids have wanted me to pick them up, and I couldn't do it. I didn't have the strength. I wasn't strong enough. Or my belly was sticking out, or from the fluid buildup, or whatever, Or I've lost a lot of bone and weight and muscle and all this, and because I sit a lot, my tailbone gets real sore, okay? Like, I can remember a couple of times, Henry, where I couldn't sit down because it hurt my tailbone. I couldn't lay down because it hurt my tailbone. And I didn't have the strength to stand up for very long. So, I mean, I'm screwed. Like, what do? I can't lay down, I can't sit down, I can't stand up. I mean, what is left? There's no other option, And so I finally bought a cushion that is specifically designed to take the pressure off your tailbone. And it seems funny. It was $40 on Amazon. It's probably the best $40 I've ever spent in my life. You know what I mean? But I'm just trying to give some practical examples for those watching of just little how I've been affected and things you would never have thought of or dreamed you'd be dealing with at 35, 36 years old.
Wow, that's amazing. I love Ryan's hashtag on Facebook. You that are friends with him, you probably seen it. It says, cancer picked on the wrong dude. I think you posted that maybe like a few days or so after you were diagnosed. I'm not sure. But many people, and I want you to pay attention to what I'm about to say, many people who have been diagnosed with cancer, me and Ryan talked about this earlier, it's pretty much like a death sentence. And many people's first initial reaction is they just give up. What inspires me about Ryan and what and how he stands out. To me, he's become a great inspiration because you did the opposite, and he did not give up. So as I go into my last question, I want to ask you, why did you give up? Why didn't you say, okay, I have cancer, so that's it? Because I know some people who have gotten cancer, even some close friends, they've already planned their funeral arrangements. I'm just being raw and real in this interview. And that's their first reaction, okay, it's my death sentence, it's over.
Yeah.
But you did like the opposite, and I think that's why you become such an inspiration to so many people. So if you can answer that question, why didn't you give up? And also, I would like to encourage everyone that's watching, if you'd like to donate to this cause, he'll be talking about that and giving you ways on how you can donate to support this beautiful family.
Thank you, Henry. I really think something that you're going to be interviewing Bertie Britz.
Yeah.
I know at some point here in the future, and he's been a huge blessing to me. And we had dinner with him last night, and I really think what I'm about to share is a great answer to your question, and could be one of the most powerful things we all ever learn. All of us are aware that fear has a tendency to play a role in our lives, and for some people it plays a major role, and it holds us back, or it causes us to maybe settle or live less of a life than we're really capable of or can, or maybe in this case causes us to listen to people who tell us it's over and get your funeral arrangements ready, or hey, there's no cure, or there's nothing you can do. And I think why I was able to respond the way I did is because of a very deep revelation, and I think this is going to really touch a lot of hearts, because I know it has really touched my heart. As I mentioned earlier, Henry, from day one, I am at peace myself with, like, I'm not afraid to die. I'm at peace with where I go and what happens and what I do and the next realm, and I don't want to die, but I also get it that no one's made it out of this planet alive yet, so we all got the same disease, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
at some point, whether you're young or middle-aged or older, it's going to happen, right? So I'm personally at peace with that, okay? And I think in the beginning, man, that's what gave me so much energy and so much ability to just go after this thing, focus on it, and I just started saying stuff like cancer's picked on the wrong dude, and because I was so focused, it's kind of like in sports, I was focused on winning, not focused on trying not to lose. I wasn't in survival mode of just trying to hang on to my life. I was thinking, how am I going to get rid of this, eradicate cancer from my body, get back to optimal health, and move forward, you know what I mean, and live a long, healthy life. As the months went on, though, another fear developed. And it developed in my wife, Caroline, as well. And the fear was, would she be okay if I died? Because, see, if I'm here, I'm going to lead my family. I'm going to teach them about God's grace. I'm going to take care of Caroline. I'm going to provide financially. I'm going to be a good dad to my kids. I'm going to teach them about grace. I'm never going to hurt Caroline. I'm never going to abuse my children. Right? I know all that stuff. But I begin to get bombarded and hit with the thoughts of, but what if I'm not here? What if another man came in her life and she was vulnerable and he took advantage of her? What if he didn't love my kids? What if somehow they grew up in legalism, or not even, or someone telling them God didn't even exist, you know? And I'm just being raw and real and honest. I wasn't sure how to handle all those thoughts. And then Caroline began to kind of express, and she would get emotional and she would cry, and it would hurt me, and it would kill me to think about the thought that she wasn't sure she would know how to handle it, and could she even move on and live a life, right? So about a month ago, I'm in the hospital for about a week, and Pastor Greg Reether, my pastor at Healing Grace Church, came by and visited, and we had a great time. And then another awesome Grace friend, Sherry Hensley, came by, and we had a great talk. And shortly thereafter, right in the hospital room, it was kind of like the elephant in the room was, I just sensed this, I just sensed that we needed to go to the deepest, darkest fear. We needed to take our hearts to the worst case scenario. That God was inviting us to address and hit head on this fear of what could happen, because it could. And so we brought it out into the light, and we began to talk about, what if I died? What if it just didn't work out the way we want it to, believe it can, believe it will, and what if that became reality, and how would she be? And buddy, we sobbed, and we cried, and we both knew that that's not what we desire, that's not what we want. But I just knew if we didn't find healing and we didn't address that, it was going to be robbing us of thoughts and energy and just constantly at us. And see, so many people are afraid to go there because in a lot of religious or Christian circles, if you go there, it's unbelief.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you go there, it's like, well, you don't believe God can protect you. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, they don't even want to go there. They're just going to try to live in this bubble like, well, nothing bad's ever going to happen. But folks, I mean, let's just get to reality. I mean, difficult things happen to everybody. I don't care who you are, what you believe, okay? It's planet Earth. God is not guaranteeing me and you nothing to ever happen difficult in our life. You know what he's guaranteeing us that he's inviting us to come to a place where we can find rest and peace, that even if our greatest fears were to come about, we're going to be okay.
Amen.
And so we began to talk about that and work through it. So then the next day, Caroline, my wife, comes to me, Henry, and I knew it was real, man. You know what I mean? Like, I knew it wasn't, she wasn't just saying it to try to make me feel better or whatever. And she just said, Ryan, I'll be okay. I really would be okay. If you were to pass now and you just didn't make it physically and the healing just didn't manifest, you know what? I'm still going to live a great life. God's going to be with me. We just make adjustments. Henry, I cannot tell you the peace and the joy and the happiness that brought. My wife and I were talking yesterday. I don't even think we've even thought about that. It's like it set us free. God took us to a place of worst case scenario. We find that we're operating in more peace. We are no longer thinking about what if. All we're focused on is, how do I live? How do I heal? How do I get better? It's all about moving forward. Does that make sense?
Amen. It does.
And I just want to say to everyone out there, what are some of your greatest fears, or what is your greatest fear? Maybe you've had thoughts of losing a child. Maybe you already have had tragedy hit your home. Maybe you're concerned about getting cancer. Maybe you have cancer and you're worried about dying. Maybe you're worried about never having any money. It doesn't matter what it is. Let me tell you what God, the creator of the universe, whoever you believe in, whatever you want to call him, it doesn't even matter to me. They are inviting you. They are inviting us to go there. Go there with your heart and let him put your mind and your heart at rest. He's not going to say, oh, I guarantee nothing could ever happen. That's just ludicrous. Things can happen. We don't have to necessarily always be worried and living in fear and thinking they're going to, but they can. And how great would it be to move on with your life knowing that even if those do come about, you'll be okay.
Amen. Praise God.
I just don't think there would be anything greater that I could experience right now with what we're dealing with. And so that is, I believe, what fuels the positive attitude, fuels my will to live, is because I'm really free, that I've already dealt with the worst possible outcome. I'm really okay with the fact that I can't control the results. and whatever happens, happens. So now that that's addressed, all my energy is totally on what I can do to get better.
That's amazing.
Is that incredible?
Yeah, that's an awesome interview. Ryan, why don't you tell them how they can donate?
Yes, and thank you for that. I really appreciate it. As I mentioned earlier, we have monthly expenses through, if I have to go in and get the fluid drained out of the hospital, of course we have hospital bills, and then we have supplements and herbs and different things that I've got to be on and take. We eat a very large amount of produce, fruits and vegetables, for lots of nutrition. So we end up at Whole Foods and Sprouts, and we just have things that just are extra costs that you wouldn't normally have because you know what I mean. And then we have certain treatments and therapies, and I'm getting ready to get my next PET scan, which is a full body PET scan. I haven't had one in 8 months to really get a clear picture on where I'm at. Has it went away? Has it progressed? And we are 100% living on the support of the graciousness of people and their generosity. And so there's 3 ways, okay, that people can help. And I know you're going to post actually the specific links, okay, but we have a GoFundMe set up, which is so simple. You literally just go to our page and people can literally just click on it and donate any amount from $5 to $5,000 to $50,000, okay? GoFundMe does take a small percentage, but I was willing to live with that because of the simplicity of it. We've had people even donate in other countries. I mean, it's online, it's easy, anybody can do it, okay? That's number 1. The other thing is a lot of people like using PayPal. And one thing about if you wanted to send it through PayPal, there are no fees, and we would get 100%. So we would get a little bit more than maybe the GoFundMe, but at the same time, it doesn't matter to us, okay? The third way, which is really incredible, and maybe you're a business owner out there, maybe you're a philanthropist, maybe you're someone that's always looking for places that you can donate and give through need, but at the same time, it also benefits a lot of people, and that is our church, Healing Grace Church, has set up a way for people to donate to the church. 100% of it goes to me, but because they're a 501c3, the donor gets a full tax deduction, okay? And so we've had some pretty large gifts come in from business owners and different people, and the benefit is they get to write that off on their taxes. And there are some people out there that they have to give a certain amount of money or they were going to end up giving it to the IRS anyway. So if you're touched or moved by our story, want to help us, and at the same time, you're a person that needs tax deductions or looking for a way to also write it off, hey, it's a win-win. And we'll get you the details. You just mail the check to the church, they process it, and then they literally just turn right around and give 100% to us. So those are the 3 simple ways. If you're following me on Facebook, we also have a t-shirt out right now that's based around the Dr. Seuss theme, and those proceeds go to us as well. But more importantly, we just want people's lives to be touched.